It's 3 a.m. Your eyes snap open. The room is silent. Nothing has happened, but your heart is pounding like you just outran something. You lie there in the dark, and your mind starts spinning through every worry you own. The bills, the argument from last week, that thing you said and can't take back. You try to fall back asleep. You can't. But the real answer for why this happens is far stranger than stress. Your brain did not wake you up by accident. It woke you up on purpose. For most of human history, sleep did not look like it does now. Historian Roger Ekirch spent years studying old court records, diaries, and medical texts from before the Industrial Age. What he found surprised almost everyone. People used to sleep in 2 shifts. A first sleep, a waking period in the middle of the night, and then a second sleep. That waking window wasn't insomnia. It was normal. People used it to pray, talk, have sex, or just lie quietly in the dark. Then came artificial light. Then came the 8-hour block we now call a normal night's sleep. Your body never got the memo. Underneath the modern idea of unbroken sleep, your biology is still running an older program. And that program has a very specific reason for waking you up in the dead of night. Fear. Here's what's happening inside you at that hour. Cortisol, the hormone your body uses to handle stress and danger, follows a rhythm. It's supposed to be at its lowest in the middle of the night, then rise before dawn to help you wake up. But when you are anxious, overworked, or your nervous system is on high alert, that curve shifts. Cortisol spikes early, sometimes at 3 a.m. instead of 6. Your body senses that spike the same way it would sense a threat, because to your nervous system, a threat is exactly what cortisol means. Sleep researcher Matthew Walker has spent decades studying what actually happens in your brain at night. His research shows that deep, dreamless sleep is when your body clears stress hormones and resets your emotional threshold for the next day. But anxiety interrupts that process. It pulls you out of deep sleep and into a lighter stage, one where you're technically asleep, but your brain is still scanning for danger. That's the stage you wake up in the middle of the night. Half conscious, fully alert. And your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for detecting threats, is running the show. Here's the strange part. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between a lion outside your tent 40,000 years ago and an unpaid credit card bill today. It just knows something feels unresolved. Something feels dangerous. So it does what it's built to do. It floods your body with alertness and won't let you rest until the threat is gone. But the threat is never gone, because the threat was never a lion. It's a thought. Why 3 a.m. specifically? Circadian rhythm researcher Charles Cheisler has shown that your body temperature, hormone levels, and alertness all move on a tightly timed internal clock, one that runs independently of whether you're actually asleep. In the early hours of the morning, your body temperature is at its lowest point of the whole day. Your natural melatonin is starting to fade, and your cortisol is beginning its slow climb toward waking. That combination creates a strange biological gap. You're not deeply asleep anymore, but you're not awake enough to distract yourself either. There's no scrolling, no conversation, no task to bury the thought in. Just you, alone, in the dark, with whatever your mind decides to hand you. And what your mind hands you at that hour is rarely good news. Have you ever noticed that a problem at 3 a.m. feels 10 times bigger than it does at 9 a.m.? That's not your imagination. During the day, your prefrontal cortex, the rational planning part of your brain, is active and in charge. It puts your worries in perspective. It reminds you that most problems are manageable. But at 3 a.m., that part of your brain is quiet, underactive, offline in the way it would be if you were still asleep. Meanwhile, your amygdala, the fear center, is wide awake. So you're left with all of the alarm and none of the reasoning. It's like handing a 5-year-old the controls to a fire alarm and removing the adult who knows when to turn it off. This is why the same worry that felt manageable at dinner can feel unbearable at 3 a.m. You're not thinking about it differently. You're thinking about it with a different brain. Ancient humans needed this system. A rustle in the grass at night wasn't something to sleep through. Waking suddenly, heart racing, senses sharp, kept your ancestors alive long enough to have you. The people who didn't wake up at strange noises in the dark didn't survive to pass on their calm nervous systems. You are quite literally descended from the light sleepers, the anxious ones, the ones who woke up at 3 a.m. and listened. But you're not lying in a cave anymore. There's no predator outside, and still the system fires exactly the same way it always has. Your body can't tell the difference between an ancient threat and a modern one. It just knows your nervous system is activated, and it responds the only way it knows how. It wakes you up to deal with it. Except there's nothing to deal with. Not at 3 a.m. There's no decision you can make in the dark that you couldn't make in daylight. There's no problem that gets solved by lying awake and replaying it. All that's happening is an ancient alarm system doing its very old job in a world it was never designed for. So what do you actually do with this? You can't turn off cortisol by willpower, but you can change what feeds it. Chronic stress during the day raises your baseline alertness, which makes that middle-of-the-night spike more likely and more intense. Ekirch's research on segmented sleep suggests something else, too. That waking in the night isn't inherently a disorder. It might be closer to your natural setting than the 8-hour block you've been taught to expect. The panic isn't in the waking itself. It's in what you do with it. Lying there, spiraling, checking the clock, calculating how few hours are left, that's what turns a normal biological blip into a crisis. The next time it happens, you don't have to fight it. You can recognize it for what it is. Not a warning, not evidence that something is wrong with you, just your amygdala, running a program that's been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years, misfiring in a world made of Wi-Fi and deadlines instead of predators. Your ancestors didn't try to reason their way out of a 3 a.m. wake-up. They just waited, listened, and eventually went back to sleep. Maybe that's all this ever was. Not a malfunction, just an old part of you, still standing guard, long after the thing it was guarding against disappeared. It's 3 a.m. Your eyes snap open. The room is silent. Nothing has happened. But this time, you know exactly why.